Boy, free weed. Free weed. Danny Danko on the normal radio. Free weed. Free weed.
Welcome back, everybody. 31 after the hour, and we are joined on the telephone by our good friend, the senior cultivation editor from TIMES Magazine, Danny Danko, who's fresh from Seattle Hempfest himself. How you doing, Danny?
Oh, Russ, I'm great. I am just reinvigorated, and Seattle Hempfest just renewed my faith in our community and our ability to just keep this fight going for cannabis freedom.
Yeah, it was quite a contrast from last year's when there was a lot of tension over the I-502 issue, but now that it's passed and everybody there at Seattle Hempfest was able to consume legally, possess legally, it seemed like everybody was a lot more mellow, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It was billed as, a year of healing, and I feel like it was. I feel like the vibe was definitely, it's just very good vibe, and I think, people are kind of over the fight. The people spoke, the votes were taken, and now we move on from there. And, if you have a problem with the law, you improve on it. If you're part in the business, obviously we want to be able to grow our own. So, that was my big push in my speeches was just, everyone's afraid of these conspiracies, Marlboro or Monsanto are going to take over our scene. But the truth is, if you grow your own, they can never do that. You have the means of control over your industry that way.
Absolutely. That's why home grow is so important. It's been kind of disconcerting to see the last, 8 or 9 medical marijuana states pass laws that don't allow the patients to grow their own.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that the polling, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, the polling would suggest that people might reject that. But I think that new polling and more advanced sort of number crunching, like the kind that you've been doing, and Paul Armentato and people at Normal have shown that, people aren't opposed to home growing. They just want to make sure, nobody's, basically like trashing their neighborhood or, destroying some houses and stuff. And I think if we show them the way it can be done, the way that it's being done in Colorado under regulations and, indoors and in greenhouses with controlled atmosphere and lighting, I think, we can prevail, and home growing will be part of future bills, and all those, bills that have passed will eventually include that, I hope.
Yeah, I hope so too. Now, what did you think about the Seattle Police Department and their Operation Orange Fingers?
The Dorito campaign?
Yes.
Well, at first I just, I figured it was sort of a publicity stunt for them, and it worked because they got national, international news for it, and it was really kind of the talk of the festival. So, and they only brought 1,000 bags of Doritos, so clearly it was just, really a stunt on their part, but it was mainly, I guess, in order to inform people of what they can and can't do under the new law. And in that way, I think that it was an interesting way for them to engage our community, rather than, 10 or 12 years ago, they were arresting, dozens of, if not more people at the festival just for partaking. And here they're actually telling us where we can smoke, how much we can possess. And, I thought it was a really interesting thing. At first I was a little cynical about it, but then I realized, hey, what kind of publicity do they want? They only want to basically let us know what the law is. And, so it was interesting.
Yeah, and it was interesting to me, too. One of the other major changes at Seattle Hempfest, at least from my point of view, was the addition of that new Stephen Colbert Bridge to Somewhere. Drops you off right in the middle of Hempfest, takes you to the, right across the tracks and over to where I usually stay as the hotel there. But one thing about that is the bridge kind of ramps up, paralleling Hempfest, and then it has this little platform area, and the cops just kind of station themselves up there like a hawk's nest, watching over the whole of the main stage grounds. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, anytime you get that many people together, it's just amazing that a stoner crowd could be so, peaceful and calm. I think if it was if we were celebrating any other kind of thing like alcohol or anything else, there would be, fights or people passing out. And I mean, I'm sure there was some of that, but it was really, fairly uneventful, I think, on a crime perspective. And it's amazing what a job that the volunteers do. I mean, as far as cutting everything all up and cleaning everything all up, they are amazing. And Vivian McPeak is just, an incredible leader of all that crew.
Yeah, they do a great job every year. And again, no major incidents or hassles. In fact, I was backstage watching Head PE perform on the main stage, and they got them a sizable crowd in front of that stage. And, some of the, he started kind of encourage some of the punk kids to start a little bit of a mosh pit. And that didn't last maybe a minute or two before Hempfest volunteers were saying, no, we don't want none of that. We want none of that. And
right.
It just tamped it right down. All right, Danny, we got a few other questions coming in from our chat room. I've got one I've got to ask, and I'll get to our chat room question. And this one has to do, I just loved it. I saw you challenge the University of Mississippi Pot Farm to get into the Cannabis Cup. Tell our audience about that.
Yeah, I mean, they put out in that weed show with Sanjay Gupta, there was a number of things that, kind of stuck in our craw. And one of them was that they tested a strain that had been confiscated by the DEA and sent to Ole Miss to the lab at 37% THC. And we just, we were flabbergasted because we've never tested really anything close to 30%. We've gotten, I think we've seen 26, 27, that's really pushing the boundaries and the limits of what's possible when testing a flower. So when they said 37, my monocle popped out, and I wanted to know, how that was calibrated, how they figured that out, what machine they used. Was it gas chromatography or liquid chromatography? Did they retest the sample at a different calibration? Because that was just outrageous. And I think that they, clearly they're exaggerating the numbers for one reason or another. Obviously, they want to make people think that pot these days is stronger than the pot that they smoke, because pretty much anybody under 80 has smoked pot. So,
yeah, it's just a little ridiculous, and hey, who knows? Maybe
so we challenged them. We offered them a free entry into the Cannabis Cup coming up in Seattle, September 7th and 8th. We gave them a free entry if they want to enter that strain and put it up against, the world's finest, Pacific Northwest finest, and whoever else travels up there for that. We'd like to see them enter. We offered them free entry for their 37% strain, and part of the score comes from lab testing. So if we test it and it tests at 37, then that would go a long way to basically changing the science of cannabis testing and cannabinoid profiles.
Yeah, the world is changing if we can get the U.S. government to win the Cannabis Cup. All right, let me get to the question from our chat room. They want to know, are you going to be at the Boston Freedom Rally the following week?
Absolutely. Yeah. It killed me to miss it last year, and it's the first year that it's going to be a 2-day event. That's September 14th and 15th, I believe.
Yep.
The weekend after our Seattle Cup, and we will be there. We'll have a High Times booth right next to the normal booth, and we're really excited. We're hoping to throw a party for VIPs and attendees and speakers that Saturday night, and we're excited about being a part of Boston Freedom Rally. That's my hometown, so I love it there, and it's a great event. And I'm excited for the first 2-day Boston Freedom Rally.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm heading back for my first time since 2009, so I'll see you there. We'll have a lot of fun. We should definitely get to the preview of the weekend previous, though, or weekend prior to that, the Seattle Cannabis Cup, the first Seattle Cup that's a Cannabis Cup, not a medical Cannabis Cup. Give folks the details they need to know.
Yeah, there's a lot of information at medcancup.com. All the frequently asked questions, you can buy tickets. If you use the promo code DANKO, DANKO, you can get 10% off of any of those tickets, the VIPs, the 2-day passes, the 1-day passes. So use that promo code to get 10% off. Also, we're going to have tons of speakers. We're honoring Rick Steves with a Lifetime Achievement Award that was named after Dr. Lester Grinspoon. And we have Slightly Stupid and Redman performing at the WAMU Theater that Saturday night, 7th of September. It's going to be really cool. I've got 2 free weed shows, grow panels, both days at 3 p.m., the 7th and the 8th. And I've got a bunch of people, DJ Short, Swerve, Aaron from DNA Genetics, Scott from Rare Dankmans, Kyle Cushman, just a ton of famous breeders and growers that are going to talk about cultivation. both days at the event, we're going to make those live free weed shows. And, yeah, we're excited. It's having just been in Seattle, I'm really excited to be going back and doing an event of our own.
Yeah, and people can get the website at cannabiscup.com, and I suppose tickets are available there as well.
Yeah, and cannabiscup.com is right now for Amsterdam tickets, which is coming up in November, and MedCan Cup is for the Seattle event, although each one will take you to the other one. But, yeah, Seattle is coming up just a few weeks. We're very excited.
Excellent. Yeah, it would be nice to be getting back up to Seattle. We'll see you up there in our 420 radio booth. I hope you stop by and we'll talk to the live audience.
Yeah, Boston Freedom Rally I'm excited about as well. And, of course, in October, New York Harvest Fest, which I've actually missed for the past few years, but I'm hoping to go to this year in October. So, yeah, it's a nice winding down to the summer of cannabis legalization. I mean, we've come so far just in the past few months in a lot of ways, and we just keep pushing. We're going to get even further.
I agree. Danny Danko, we appreciate all you do for the cannabis community. And, of course, you can get the Ask Danny Danko column up there on High Times. You can get free weed at hightimes.com as well, or just listen to 420 Radio. We've got it on replays on Wednesday and throughout the week. And, Danny, we'll see you up in Seattle and then up in Boston and then wherever else the next place we end up at.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fun time going around and celebrating the plant and pushing for the marijuana law reform. And I should congratulate you, too, on a daily column at hightimes.com, I believe, right?
Yeah. Getting those out on the 101s and the newses. And I tell you what, it helps stave off impending homelessness. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, keep up the great work, and thank you for having me.
All right. When we come back, we got some Sam Chapman.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisers because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show. You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Tokers, there's no good reason to get your dog stoned. While